Orange County Registered Digital.
Thank you very much. I have a confession to make. I love photojournalism. And I love the way photojournalism works in newspapers. Because I don't think there's any way to look at a community or for community to see itself quite so vividly every day as in newspapers and our websites. Because I think when the community looks at us, they're looking at themselves. And I view that as a responsibility that I try to carry with me. And part of that responsibility is telling stories effectively with my pictures. And I think if you were to look at this picture that I shot a year ago when the Kings won their Stanley Cup, you don't even have to have words to go with it, that you know what happened. The goalie tells you he's a loser, and the Kings tell you they're the winners. And you can write 1,000 words, as they say, and it won't be any clearer than that. And that's what I strive for every time I go out. I try to tell quick, concise, storytelling pictures that emulate what the story is from that day, from that game. It's not always sports, although sometimes. This is the first dog surfing contest in Huntington Beach. And I was fortunate enough to see this ugly, weird-looking dog on the beach before. I know. I'm sure he's very cute, Rich. But I followed him and just said, I'm gonna stay with this one dog for a while. And as it turns out, its owners were from Orange, and it made this great picture. Fortunately for me, I sent in another picture that Lauren Au, who was the photo editor that day, said, no, this is the picture. And he put that in the paper, and it's been getting, lots of interest, a lot of smiles, and a lot of fun things to come out of that. And I like doing that for the community. I like putting that in the newspaper so people pick it up, they engage in the life of the area that's around them, what's happening around them. This is another situation that isn't quite so frivolous, but I think just as important, because you're showing people that their lives are full of joy and heartache and work and exhilaration. It's not all bad news, and it's not all good news, it's just life. And in this case, you're watching a boy who's had to grow up too soon because his father was killed fighting in Iraq. He's receiving his flag that was draped on his father's casket, and as his father was given the Bronze Star posthumously at Camp Pendleton. I love the relationship with the hands on the flag, as it just has a touch of humanity to it that I really appreciate about this picture. And then all best laid plans. It was hot, it was clear, it was ungodly hot, so I set up arrangements with the city of Buena Park to come out to one of their pools and shoot pictures, and that day, it's cloudy. And so, but it was still muggy, so I decided to make the picture the clouds and try to make something unique and different point of view. Most people wouldn't look at a diving board that way. Just something, when someone picks up the paper and looks, they see something different. They see a new way of seeing things. I was sent out, Michelle told me to go out and find a different picture from the All-Star game that was at the Angel Stadium, I think in 2010 maybe. And so I figured what's more fun than watching the home run derby than catching a home run derby ball. So I brought that lens out and stayed in the bleachers with everybody and just photographed people catching the home runs. And what I like about this picture is the tableau nature of it. You can stare at that picture for a long time and see a lot of different faces. You can see this little kid down here who's manning up and getting in there. He's going to get that darn ball. But it even comes down to the nice little moment where it's like a snow cone. They call this a snow cone. Just a little bit of the ball is just almost coming out of the mitt, and there's just a little bit of attention there that really kind of adds to the whole picture. This is God, I wrote his name down.
Mamadou.
Mamadou. And he plays at UCI right now, but this is when he played his high school. This kid who's defending him is 5'5". And Mamadou is 7'5". So I think we ought to make posters of these and put up like against all odds underneath, or perseverance, or determination, or put it up in our offices. Because you want to show you want to show contrast, you want to show something that's going to bring a smile to people's faces, as well as chronicle the fact that there's this new player in town, and in fact ended up at UCI. This is a service they have at Los Alamitos, air base where they call it a hero's welcome, and they bring people who were killed in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan home to their neighborhoods at that base, at that air station. And this is the mother of a sergeant who was killed. And it was one of the, the hard things we do sometimes is we're at an air base, a huge air base, and there isn't a sound throughout the whole air base, except her wails of grief and sorrow. And you make a picture because you know that that's important, and you know that it says something about what we are as a people and who we are and what's happening and all that just timely important stuff. This is, believe it or not, kind of a funny story, because this is the track down of Dorner, who was killing police. And the funny part of this was that every day, for every 3 hours, they'd have a press conference in this one same spot over and over again. And as it turns out, Dorner was in a house looking down at us, having a press conference with all these policemen. I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny. And this is when they're checking cars as they're leaving Big Bear, trying to find them in the manhunt. This is Bill Carnes. He was the only person to survive the Night Stalker. He was shot 3 times in the head. We went up to North Dakota to do his story 30 years after the crime. And through the course of the day, I determined that that was the bed he was sleeping in when he was shot. And so through some cajoling and conversation and different things, I got him to lie down exactly that way. So this is kind of a turning point in his life. From that point on, his life was completely different. He has very short-term memory issues, and he's not a happy guy. This is a story we were doing on a series of drownings in Orange County. So we found a school that taught the process that when the child falls in, it's the nature is to turn them over, it's to roll over and scream. So what you're seeing here is the graduation. And that's why some of the kids are dressed in street clothes and some of the kids are dressed in pajamas, because they're just shoved in and made to react. And fortunately, everybody passed. And then I love this picture as a celebration of the Ducks, because it kind of includes the fans and all the orange and all, it just adds to the vibrancy and the emotion. This was a Game 5 overtime goal, and they won the series. So I hope I didn't run too far over the 7 minutes, but thank you for your patience.
Orange County Register. We are here in the service of Orange County.